Pretty Little Liars, the TV show, sometimes deals with disturbing and problematic topics. We've provided a list of content warnings in the episode description. Welcome to Dead Ends. I'm Emily.
I'm Brenton.
And today we have the season. Yeah, the season.
Yeah, season.
Not the series is what I was going to say.
I see.
Season 2 finale. Brenton now knows who our very first A is. Welcome to 2011.
So first of all, I need to come in and make an apology to the entire Saint Germain family. Boy, did I miss it.
Yeah, you did a little. You were really bought on Maya, and I was like, I don't remember people being that dug in on Maya at that time. I'm not saying they weren't because I wasn't really paying attention yet.
You feel real bad when the episode ends on and they found a body and it's you think it's Maya's. It's like, oh. Well,
yeah.
I mean, who knows what'll happen? But like, ooh,
yeah.
spent the past few weeks really zeroing in on that one.
I couldn't stop you.
Right? No, you did a great job.
Thank you. It's the best secret I've ever kept.
Yeah, you did really good, not giving anything away.
I tried so hard.
Mm-hmm.
I've already given away a spoiler on the book series that I'm making you read today.
Well, you thought you'd already spoiled it for me.
I thought I'd spoiled it for you like months ago.
So now it's now it's happening.
No, I did.
But I should have trusted that thing that episode where it's just like, damn, they're making a really good case for Mona being A.
Yeah, but it was so far from the finale that, like, as a viewer, you're kind of like, well.
Mm-hmm.
They also made a good case for Melissa and Lucas. At different points.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I don't know if I ever bought in on Lucas, but I mean, in this, we're already getting Lucas doing other nefarious shit. What is he up to?
Mm-hmm. What is Lucas up to?
Yeah, what is Lucas up to? But as much as I felt like I lost a friend this episode.
What if I told you we never really lose Mona?
Right. Mona's obviously sticking around.
Yeah.
From the end of this episode of how we kind of see it. But I was also wrong in that, like, we'll get the A reveal and we'll kind of get a good glimpse of like what the show thinks of A and kind of the things we're talking about.
I was really confused when you went on that tirade because I was like, they're never gonna give us like opinions. Like this show is pure diabolical menacing.
Well, but it's but through the reveal, the show is telling you something.
Yeah.
And like what it does in this episode is, I was excited to learn like, oh, okay, what are they gonna like show us about this?
Mm-hmm.
And what they show us is befriend the loner because you don't know if they're mentally unwell and they could come after you. And it's like, this sucks.
Well, I think
that's the episode. That's what the episode tells you. God knows what they're going to do in the future.
Yeah. And I think what they were trying to do potentially is set us up for a oh my God, my brain just stopped working. To set us up for like a don't bully people, but like not,
yes.
You know what I mean?
Right.
But like also like if you bully people, they might bully you.
Yeah.
And like you probably shouldn't give ammo to people, or like maybe you shouldn't befriend the loner because she still went after Hannah. She hit Hannah with a car.
Yes. But like
and then apologized on her cast.
But like the reason that we're given that Mona goes after them is like because you stole Hannah from me.
But do we believe that, or do we think she's just telling Spencer that to get Spencer to be a part of the A team?
I'm just talking about what's in the episode specifically. Like, that's what the season ends on.
Mm-hmm.
Is like, you don't know what the loner would potentially do. That's what I take away from it.
See, I think because I was so deep in the show and like the creator of the show was so untrustworthy with the plot lines that I assumed that like at any given time, even at that point in the show, that only about 50% of what I saw was like absolute fact, and the other parts could be 180 in the next episode.
Yeah. And I'm not saying they might change this in the future. Just going off what they gave us in the episode, it's like, really? Like that's what that's what this reveal is on.
But then why was she going after Allison?
Because Allison was her bully. Yeah. That's like textbook of like what kids would do like at school of like, well, don't bully the loner because the loner's going to come after you. And that's like what she was doing to Allison. It's like, really? It kind of, I feel like undercuts a little bit some of their other stuff of like how like easy it is for kids to go after other kids and stuff. To have like that kind of be it is just kind of like nothing else. There's nothing else here.
Well, there is something else though. At the very end, you get her telling someone that I did everything you asked me to.
Yes. And I think the misdirection on that is because it's wearing the red coat. You're supposed to think it's Allison. But who knows what it is. But we get that there could be more to it for sure. And I fully expect them to be like Mona's in way other and more shit than this. But I think that the only explanation the episode gives is really like, that's it? Really? It's really deflating.
See, for me, it made me think that when I first watched it, like I was like, oh, that can't be it. So there's more coming.
Right. Yeah. What did you I was actually curious. What did you think when you first saw this episode?
So I can't remember if I already knew Mona was A or not when I saw this episode. I can't remember if I watched this right before the premiere of the next season or, you know what I mean? Like, I couldn't tell you.
Because you had started watching when season 3 was airing and you watched this on DVD, right?
Or they did like a day-long marathon, you know what I mean? Like before the next episode aired or something. And I couldn't tell you because like it's pain meds. It's all very fun.
Right.
The timeline's a little messy. But then also, or I was watching it on demand.
Oh yeah,
I don't
through the cable provider.
Because I was watching it in like the middle of the night and stuff. But so I liked the Mona reveal. I thought it was fun to watch the character kind of take her ownership, and I think the Halloween episode is what sold me on Mona. I wouldn't have known who was A. Like I could not possibly have guessed if it was going to be Melissa or Mona or who else was I really suspicious of? Not Sean, because I forgot about him.
Were you suspicious of Lucas?
I might have been suspicious of Toby.
Oh, just because like Toby's
or like the Toby Jenna, like because he's like that Jenna had somehow done something that like Toby was going to be like our reveal, but it wasn't going to be Toby, you know, or something like that. Like I was just like, because Jenna had her claws in him so deeply, I was like, and I really liked Toby and I liked Spencer, so I was like, something's gonna happen. I really liked the Mona reveal. I thought it was well done. And I liked that there was enough misdirection, but also like if you watch those again, you can watch like we've been doing this rewatch. I'm like, oh my God, like it's glaringly obvious.
It's like she's doing this, she's doing this.
Like it actually seems like they had a plan. I don't know if we can say the same for the rest of the series. So at this point onward, just take your expectations of like where plot was going and like knock it down a couple pegs. But maybe I'll be surprised. I don't know.
Yeah.
I remember those like seasons like 3 and 4 and 5 being like interesting. Especially 3 and 4. But yeah, so I like the Mona reveal. I liked the watching her kind of come into her popular girl status. And I will say that we do get more about kind of like her and her why and things as the series goes on. Even as we focus on other A's. Like the next reveal is not going to be you know what I mean? Like it's not
right. Yeah, exactly.
There's 3 A reveals.
Guess what? It's Mona again.
It's me again, motherfuckers.
It would literally say, "I'm back, bitches," and then it's Mona again. Well, I think the thing actually that works out really well with Mona, it's like, oh yeah, that's in her voice.
Yeah. Yeah. No, 100%. I think it's really entertaining in that way. And I think it shows how far things got out of hand for her with like how things happened to Hannah. Because you can kind of rewatch the show now and watch what happens to Hannah. And you're like, okay, like you can tell when she was pulling the strings, like when it was just like happenstance, or like,
right.
you know, like what did she mean to hit Hannah with the car?
Right. Probably not.
No.
But she was in control when she's like, I'm receiving these A texts.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
And that she knew that they were lying to her.
Mm-hmm. Right, exactly. You didn't tell me like all the facts.
Well, and also because they're like, she's like, oh, did you receive an A text? And they're like, no, she sent it. She knows.
Yeah.
Like, or at least we assume she sent it.
Right.
But yeah, and so the other thing I have to think about too with her though is like, was she doing this all alone?
Right. And we don't get that answer. And I think that's the other frustrating part of this is that because the only reason we're given is like, you stole Hannah from me, we get nothing else. And it's just like, God damn it. There's so many other threads that you could have just at least like tried to pull in that are just completely unanswered. So it's just like, it's frustrating.
That's why a lot of people, when they talk about this show, we don't really consider this storyline ended until like 3.5. This is not really like, it's just like a small piece of information.
Right.
It's not truly the end of this plot line.
Yeah.
Because we still don't know what's happening with Maya.
Nope.
We still don't know like
about any of the Jenna thing at the party.
Yeah. We don't know why someone tried to light Jenna on fire.
No. We don't know what's going on, and why it was at Jason's house.
Why we assume it was Garrett's badge was left there.
Garrett is also under arrest. Yeah, there's so many threads. So I think that's like, maybe it'll like pay off later. But like as a finale, it's underwhelming.
Interesting.
Yeah, I think I've like by the time like the finale until Mona is careening around in a car is where it lost me. I
don't know. Mona trying to throw Spencer over the cliff and then falling over herself. It's a great scene.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
It's a great
not gonna
scene.
lie there.
I remember, I don't think I knew for sure what was going to happen in that episode because I do remember watching her get thrown over the cliff and I was like, is she going to die?
Right.
I can't kill Mona.
Right.
So yeah, but no. I enjoy Mona as a character. And I think you'll like Mona more, even more, as the story goes on. And I think you'll feel... I can't promise you'll get a fully robust rationale.
Right, yeah.
But you will get more.
Yeah, okay.
And you'll get kind of more of what I like to think of as like more empowered Mona. Where like you're like, oh, she did this because of this.
Right.
You know?
Yeah. Yeah, I hope that's the case. I also am wary of but if we're going some mental illness route here, but they like only casually mention it. But I'm hopeful we don't steer too into like anything that's too deep on that.
The mental health parts around Mona are, I'm sure they're problematic. And as we rewatch, I'll have to like really like analyze that. But they were definitely, you'll have to, I don't want to give anything away.
Yeah, no, that's fine.
As it goes. But they address
for me.
Addiction and other characters. I think it's in this season. Might be in the next one. I think it's either in 3 or 4. Might be in both. There's a couple different times they address addiction and it's like, there's maybe like 4 different times and like 50% of the time it's like, that's actually a pretty good representation, you know, like, and then the other half you're like, that's
why, what?
And when you think about like the condensed timeline, it's like someone had like an addiction and a recovery within like a week. If you think about like how time would have to move to fit all of these things in the window they were in, you're like, that's not quite how that works.
Right.
So I think, yeah, they're going to start playing more in mental health, and the next A reveal, which is a ways down the road now, no pun intended, is not It might be worse than the very last one.
Got it.
The show only goes
one way
downhill from here.
Got it.
But I think the 3.5 and the Halloween episode actually is the peak. The Halloween episode, next season, it's my favorite episode of Pretty Little Liars.
All right.
And I think you'll feel vindicated in some of your previous guesses in that episode.
Cool.
And I will give you nothing else.
All right. I'm happy with that. Well, I mean, we've got plenty more to talk about for sure. Should we get to the recap then?
Yeah, why don't you jump in?
Yeah, we only have one episode as a treat for us. But that's just how it worked out. But Emily's like, we should just do this for each season going forward, where we'll have the finale as a standalone, so that'll affect only the even numbered seasons, minus season 3, because that is already kind of split up as we do side shows. But we're
hitting the road.
Yeah, we're doing donuts. Yeah,
because we'll have to do Ravenswood.
Yeah.
The little mini series.
Yes.
The Halloween episode.
That'll be its own episode too. And then the ones that are even seasons, we'll be doing the last 2 episodes standalone by themselves.
Perfect.
Cool. All right. So episode 47, season 2, episode 25, Unmasked. We open on Spencer's kitchen and the news is on the TV. We learn that it's a week after Garrett's arrest and he's pled not guilty. The police believe he became a police officer to destroy evidence related to the murder. The friends are all gathered watching in the kitchen. Emily said Garrett took page 5, but someone else gave it back. Spencer said her mom's friends with the prosecutor, and it was Jenna. Aria asks if they can finally put Allie to rest now, and Hannah says, I don't know. I don't know if they're guilty of murder, but they're definitely guilty of something. Melissa then comes in all happy and says, love gone wrong. She's like, I knew Ian didn't kill Allison and that you 4 can keep a secret, but don't have the constitution for murder. She then steals Aria's ice cream. Says she knows how Jenna went blind, and so does Garrett. If he killed Allison, it's because he thought she deserved it. She walks away. I think that's the last scene with Melissa, but what a fucking scene.
I love it.
They all get a text from A saying, you have something that belongs to me. Bring it, or one of you ends up in a body bag. The friends all confirm it's about the phone, A's phone that they have, and the doorbell rings. Spencer answers it to an envelope from a messenger, and inside are invites for all of them to a masquerade ball with a note from A that says, be there when the clock strikes midnight. Emily says A wants to play hide and seek. Spencer says Spencer walks away from the group as they're discussing and looks into the distance going, Spencer's like, hide and seek was always my favorite game to play with Melissa. You want to know why? I always won. Love this particular bit of staging. Hannah discusses how Melissa seems extremely guilty with Aria and Emily on their way to school. Hannah says A is all-knowing. Who else been the person to be smarter than Spencer but her sister? Spencer walks up and is just like, hey, I'm offended by that. It's just like specific test scores. Spencer brought Allison's bag to school and says, we're not giving back their phone, and we need to go through this bag again. And we can do it. We can all meet up and do it at my house. Aria says, let us meet up after school, as Mona then comes up to them and confirms it looks like you're all going to the masquerade ball. Normally I wouldn't go, but Jenna's going, if Jenna was going, but you know what? We should all just go after school and get our costumes together. One by one, they all give excuses about how they can't go, and then Mona is disappointed she's being left alone again. The friends are all at Fitz's apartment without him there. Aria mentions that Fitz checks in from time to time with her, but that it might actually be over this time. So obviously Fitz has moved away or something.
Remember he went back to go stay with his parents for a while.
Mm-hmm. There you go. And
they used his apartment, so he didn't move away.
Right. Fair enough.
He left all his shit.
Exactly. Hannah gets a text from Mona with a picture of Caleb calling out her lie for the day. Hannah lies down on Fitz's bed, and Arya's like, "Do you mind? Like, that's sacred ground." The friends all exclaim, surprised. Yeah. They look in the jewelry box and find a pen that said, or in the jewelry box that Allison had left in the bag.
Not Ezra's jewelry box.
No. They find a pen that says Doherty's Landing. They look it up, and it's an airstrip in the middle of nowhere. Spencer asks for the postcard again, and on the postcard it says meets 30. They then do like some Googling to find what the full postcard said, and when they find that it's a full advertisement for the Lost Woods Resort with a similar tagline. Arya says Allison must have been there and been in room 1, and they turn over the postcard because there's a number 1 written on the back. We then cut to the friends all in a car driving in the woods as something darts in front of the car and freaks them all out. They continue to drive and then come upon the Lost Woods Resort, which is this motel in the middle of nowhere. As they sit there contemplating what to do next, a man approaches the car and knocks on the window, scaring all of them, but he asks if they are checking in. Inside the lobby, this man is obviously the concierge, and he says that he was surprised that you all came in. No one comes here since the interstate got built just a few miles down. Spencer says, signs the sign-in booklet with her name as Mary Smith. She then asks for room 1 and asks about Vivian Darkbloom. The man says, I don't know about her, but I don't ask questions about people who stay here. Because if they check in, they obviously don't want to be found. And then they all kind of leave in a hurry, and Hannah trips and falls in the mud on the way to the room. As the friends are all in the room, they start looking around and wondering what exactly they should be looking for. They start investigating and wonder if Allison came here to hide something or to hide herself. Spencer and Arya look out the window and wonder if the man left, and Spencer wants to go look at the registration booklet. She tries to get people to go with her, and Arya volunteers, as the other two say, no, we're too cold. We don't want to go. Spencer says to Arya, you're little, but you're big, and Arya smiles. The two break in and find the lobby dark, and then stare at a creepy portrait of a woman on the wall. I'm assuming this is a nod to Psycho. Yeah, I mean, we all know that. Cool.
I've never seen it, but I believe you.
Right? Or do you know what it?
I've never seen it.
Oh, okay. In Psycho, the man runs a hotel and people are dying in it, and has a weird relationship with his mother around there. And I think you're supposed to believe that the mother is the killer until you find out it's him, Norman Bates.
Lovely.
Yeah.
Spoilers for Psycho.
Yeah. That hot new Alfred Hitchcock. I heard he's quite a director to look after. Hannah goes to take a shower as Emily gets a phone call. She picks it up and asks if it's Maya, but she gets no signal and the call fades, so she steps outside to try again. The horror movies.
We're having a great time with English today.
We are. But the horror movies, alarm bells, immediately start going off. Mm-hmm. Spencer and Arya in the sign-in booklet find that Vivian checked in the morning before she went missing. They check the booklet for other names they might know. Emily is continuing to look for a signal as a dark figure runs behind her without her noticing. Emily's way down in the driveway and you see the dark figure in a hoodie run toward the room. We then see Hannah showering as the dark figure enters the room and is heading toward the shower. Then a phone rings, so Hannah turns off the shower and goes to look and puts on her towel and walks out and asks for Emily, but sees the room's empty and the door wide open. But we then cut to the next morning. Everything's okay. Spencer says Allison stayed there twice. The first time was the day she was supposed to meet A in Brookhaven. We then cut to a hooded figure taking a picture off the wall and looking through from an adjacent room into their room. Spencer and Arya then go to return the sign-in booklet. Hannah comes back from a call with Caleb, mentioning he can't bring her to the masquerade ball tomorrow because his mom's coming to town and he was going to hang out with her. Emily then agrees to go with Hannah, and Hannah's happy. Spencer and Arya run back in and saying Harold, who's the concierge, is back and it's time to go. And we see all this happen through the room peephole. Toby is collecting all the burnt items out of Jason's house. Spencer pulls up and gets out, and Toby kind of greets her. Spencer asks if he's heard anything about what happened, and Toby says, all I've heard is that it wasn't an accident. Spencer asks about Jenna, and he says Jenna seems fine. Spencer asks if he's bringing her to the masquerade ball, and he says no. Spencer asks if he'll ever be able to forgive her, and he says, I've got work to do. Spencer says, you have every right to hate me, but you don't have to be that guy who won't let anybody in. She then leaves, and Toby gets a call. He picks it up and then says, Dr. Sullivan? Cut to Jenna putting on lipstick and getting out of a Mustang. Nice car. And goes and sits on a park bench opposite someone that we don't see. We only kind of see their side profile, so maybe the side of their
It looks
shoulder.
like they're wearing a Patagonia vest and a shirt underneath it, but maybe it's just the amount of tech bros that I've seen in my lifetime that scarred me.
Either way, yeah, some sort of coat and a long sleeve.
Like a vest and a long sleeve.
Yeah. She takes off her glasses and says, I thought about this moment, wondering what I'd say to you if I saw you again. She pulls out something wrapped in say a shirt or something and tells them they'll all be at the party. You know what you have to do. I don't know what they do.
Well, you don't know who it is.
Right.
Maybe it's who she's talking to at the party when she's talking to whoever's in the costume.
Fair enough.
And Lucas. Maybe it's Lucas.
Could be Lucas.
We'll discuss later.
Cut to the masquerade party.
I don't remember who it was, so these are all shot in the dark. I'm not trying to lead you in any direction.
No, this is pure speculation. Cut to the masquerade party as the friends all arrive. Arya says it's the perfect place for A to hide. Hannah asks where Melissa was when Spencer left, and Spencer says she was in her pajamas on the couch. Arya reiterates that at midnight they need to stick together and not give up the phone. So then they decide, but now we're going to split up. They go to search the party. Hannah is stopped by someone mysterious, and we see that it's Caleb. And he's like, I wanted to surprise you. And Mona even helped me pick out this costume. And then we camera pans over and Mona's to the left, hi. Hannah thanks her and says, sorry about yesterday. No more secrets. Mona says, you'll tell me tomorrow. You don't have to explain today. Go dance. Hannah says, I love you. And the two leave. Spencer then walks up to Mona and is like, you had me fooled, but I got you figured out. Mona says, oh, do tell. Spencer says, you may hide behind a layer of superficial bitch, but you're a great friend to Hannah. Mona says, that means a lot. I went so long living through Allison's torture, I didn't have any friends. Spencer apologizes for not sticking up for her sooner, or to her sooner. Mona says, I usually don't think about it, but today I couldn't get her out of my head. I took Caleb to this small place in Brookhaven. Spencer's like, oh, I know the town. And Mona says, it was the last place I saw her alive, about a week before she went missing. Flashback, but we get kind of a weird dissolve into this flashback. So, maybe something could be up with this. I don't know. Mona, in hindsight, Mona sees Allison in a store, and Allison is wearing her Vivian getup. Mona runs over to her and is like, oh my God, is that you, Allison? What are you doing here? Allison is like, oh, good, for the love of God. And tells her to be quiet. Allison says, I can't tell you why I'm here. It's a secret. It's for real. I'm watching someone and it isn't a game. Pretend like you don't know me and take off. Mona says, wow, you need something from me. What's it worth to you? Allison says, what do you want? And Mona says, to be popular. Allison writes a number down on part of the postcard from the Lost Wood Resort and hands it to Mona. Present day. Spencer asks if Mona saw who Allison was watching and realizes that Spencer was watching, realizes that Allison instead was watching A in Brookhaven, not the other way around. Mona stops her and realizing stops her and is like, wait, this is about A. Spencer catches her up on the Lost Wood Resort information, all the things they found, says she thinks Allison followed A to that resort. Arya looks around the party as someone in a mask types on a phone across the party watching her. Arya walks through a little maze area, and then we see that it's Jenna. going to follow after her. After the commercial break, Ariel walks forward, calling, "Hello, hello." We then see, oh no, it's a Fitz, emerge and says, "No matter how hard I try, I can't stay away from you." Cut to Hannah and Caleb dancing. Emily talks to Spencer on the phone. Spencer's like, "I'm on my way back to the motel." Remember that not splitting up thing? When we were there were keys missing for room 2, and it hadn't been booked since Allison went missing. Nobody checks into the room because it's been rented. Allison went in there to spy on A. Spencer mentioned she's with Mona, and Emily says, "We'll get back here in like 2 hours." Emily then sees Jenna kiss someone in a mask. Spencer is sitting with the concierge having tea. He mentions that he's lonely and talks to the taxidermied animals that are hanging around. I wrote down stuffed. I'm like, he doesn't have stuffies. Mona,
those aren't stuffies. You don't want
they're stuffed animals, all right.
One of my uncles like taxidermies.
Taxidermies?
Yeah, and like so all of my uncles had taxidermied animals, and it always freaked me out as a kid.
It's a little freaky.
It was terrifying.
Mhm.
One of them had birds, and I was like,
Okay, that would freak me out.
But I don't even like the deer, the moose, or whatever the fuck they have,
Yeah.
the head on the wall. I'm like, excuse me, he was alive and living majestically, and now he's got fucking bead eyes.
Mm-hmm. Well, then, God, the bird room at the Santa Barbara Natural History Museum freaked me out. Like it.
Yeah, you did get a little scared in there.
Great place otherwise, though. Go visit.
It's a really cool fake skeleton of a very large whale named
Chad.
Isn't it Chadwick? Just Chad?
I think we called him Chadwick.
I just called him Chadwick.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mhm. But yeah, it's really
You'll
nice.
have to go and find out what his name is.
Definitely confirm it, but watch out for that bird room. Mona then
They're
motions.
dead. It's not like they come out.
That's as far as we know. Mona motions to Spencer that she got the key, so then Spencer runs off with her to go investigate the room. They enter room 2 and open with shocked looks, but we don't see what's inside. Fitz and Arya dance, and Fitz says, "It's our first dance. I want to see you." They both take their masks off, and Fitz kisses her. To which I responded with like kids being there. It's like, "Hey, wasn't that our teacher?"
Mm-hmm.
Emily searches the party, and who else but Paige stops her. Okay. Spencer and Mona enter the room and find pictures of Allison plastered all over the walls. There's also newspaper clippings of her disappearance hung up, and a bunch of file cabinets and a phone. There's also a dollhouse with Barbie dolls sitting in it. Eventually, the camera will spin around and rest on there, but we get like kind of like a tour of like all the different pictures of Allison and the friends as well. Mona asks what this place is. Spencer says it's A's lair. Paige is talking to Emily and apologizes for the other night and is like, we have a connection. You have to admit it. Emily says, "Well, we did, but you weren't ready. And, like, that's fine." Paige says, "I care about you and I'll be here for whatever you need." Emily says, "What I need is a friend." Paige says, "Well, it's official then. We're friends." And Emily is happy. Just watch out for this in the future, Emily. Spencer and Mona search the lair. Spencer then sees the dollhouse. And it's I should mention in the dollhouse there's Barbie dolls I think there's 4 Barbie dolls that would represent each one of the friends. Mona calls her over and says this has to be A's costume. And then walks out to go call Hannah. Spencer looks at these like different drawings that like Mona had found and says, "Oh, A must be dressed as the Black Swan." Hannah looks around the party and sees a woman enter, dressed as the Black Swan, and wonders who the hell that is. Spencer and Mona hang, and Mona offers her gum, and Spencer says no thank you. Spencer mentions that nobody is like calling them back at all. Spencer then starts to look through A's diary and finds a spearmint gum wrapper in it.
I thought it was Allison's diary.
Oh, Allison's diary. Apologies. It is Allison's diary. Spencer says, Melissa was the Black Swan at the charity ball last year. Mona says, "You don't think she'd do anything to try and hurt you, would she?" Spencer says, like, "Why would you say that?" Mona says, just that, like, you might be, like, she might be A, right? Spencer says, actually, I'll take that piece of gum. And Mona finds that she's completely out, so heads out to the car to get more. Costume change. The three friends at the masquerade wonder who the Black Swan is. They see that the swan walks over to Jenna and Lucas hanging out. I've thought Hannah would be more surprised about this. The Black Swan then walks away from the other two, and the friends go to follow her. Spencer continues to look as Mona walks back in, saying she found the gum. Spencer says, you didn't call Hannah, did you? Because you're A. Mona says, congratulations, you figured it out. And we see that Mona is in like head to toe, just like black sweats, like black hoodie, instead of the masquerade ball gown, and hits Spencer over the head with something. The Black Swan leaves the party as the friends go to follow. The Black Swan sees them and she darts through the door. And the friends find that the door is locked and can't follow after her. But Hannah finds a feather from her costume on the ground. Spencer then wakes up in Mona's car as she's like just tearing down the road. The friends try to call Spencer but can't get the phone to work. And it's like Hannah's phone that was like given to her by Mona. Hannah then opens her settings to figure out like what's going on and finds something like weird on it and then hands it to Emily. And Emily's like, your phone is set to record every time it turns on. And Hannah's just like, wait, what? Back to the car. Mona says, I had to get you alone so we could talk. You had to earn the right to be a part of it. Spencer says, Allison saw you in Brookhaven, not the other way around. Mona says, we're in this together now. I like you, Spencer. You can join the A team or you can disappear. I'm going to take a brief pause to say there's another way this could have gone where Spencer says yes and then starts getting in deep on this. And I want that. I want that so bad.
Well,
where Spencer's just like a spy.
Just hold out, baby.
All right.
Hold out.
I love it.
I won't promise you exactly that you'll get what you want. but I think you'll like season 3.
Okay. Yeah, I was like, oh my God, Spencer say yes. Spencer say yes. I understand why Spencer doesn't say yes.
But, hit over the head.
But I was like, come on, like deeper into the darkness.
Season 3, season 4. I don't know. These next 2 seasons you'll enjoy.
Okay.
And you'll hate.
I love it.
A little bit of both.
It's the experience. And Spencer then gets a call from Arya, but like Mona doesn't notice, and secretly picks it up. Spencer says, you almost killed it. Sorry. Spencer says, you almost killed Hannah. I thought you were her friend. The friends then see, it's like a video call. We're getting a video call from this phone. Mm-hmm. As Mona says, it's easier to forgive an enemy than it is a friend. Spencer says, how did you do it, Mona? Or how did you do it? Mona says, you're not the only genius in this car. You bitches underestimated me. Jesus. Spencer says, you'll never make it to Lookout Point if you don't slow down. Arya says, I know where to get there. I know a shortcut. And Hannah is shocked, but Arya is like, pull it together and pulls her after so they can go after Spencer.
Hannah's just taking blow after blow tonight.
Really is. Spencer asks if this is some sort of payback, and Mona says, for Allison. Mona says, I'm over Allison. She was never my friend, but Hannah was, and you bitches took her from me. You deserve everything you got. You took my old friend. Spencer says, what's the plan? Like, A always has a plan. Mona mentions she has Spencer's dad's gun. Spencer pulls the e-brake, and this stuns Mona enough for Spencer to run out of the car, just as the friends are pulling up, and Hannah debates going to hit Mona, who's getting out of the car, but the other friends get her to stop. Mona screams and then lunges after Spencer. They get in a scuffle, and Mona slips toward the edge of the hill. Spencer reaches out to grab her, but Mona falls. We then cut to sometime later as the police and ambulance are here. Dr. Sullivan arrives, asking if the friends are all okay. She mentions that Mona had threatened her son, and she didn't think she had a choice, and she apologizes. Dr. Sullivan consoles Hannah, and Hannah is completely heartbroken over her friend doing this. Oh, also, like, I'm assuming maybe later we find out, or maybe not, but like, what was she threatening her son over?
Well, and also, like, how bad is your local police department that when you were taken and threatened by a patient of yours, that you have records that prove that, like, you know, there's something going on here if you really needed it? Like, how No.
Right.
Like, go to a different county and report this.
Right. I know she didn't want to give up her patient records earlier in the show.
Yes.
But like, yeah, if you really don't want to like mess with Rosewood, be like, yeah, I had to flee
because of this person.
Right. I really wonder, like, what was the threat with her son? What did her son do? What did your son do, Dr. Sullivan? Or did she put, is your son the creepy doll shop kid? That's the only child Mona seems to have access to. And they then hear
threatened reputation. Right,
exactly. But like, what did her son do? Does he deserve it? We hear a man shout that she's alive. Mona then turns up, like she's like still in like the bushes, like kind of moving, as her watch timer starts going off. The camera then zooms in on her, and we cut to her in an interrogation room at the police station. We hear Dr. Sullivan giving a voiceover saying like her intelligence and like the way she breaks, she's been in a perpetual state of hyperreality. The adrenaline rush of being in control and her hyperintelligence fueled her actions and presented her as being omnipresent. Hannah asks if she'll be okay, and Dr. Sullivan says, yes, with therapy and medication, personality disorders can get better. We then get a Mona voiceover saying she knows that they're looking at her, and it's okay. They think it's over. Are you all right there?
Did you do?
I did, sorry.
I was like...
It's pretty smelly.
You can cut that out.
It's all good. We leave it in. Mona, we get a Mona voiceover saying she knows they're all looking at her, and it's okay that they think it's over. And it's okay. They think it's over. Don't they know it's what I want? No, it's what we want. Mm-hmm. As they leave the station, Dr. Sullivan says, I wouldn't have shown back up, but your friend was very convincing. Spencer then says, friend? They turn and look, and Toby's there with his truck. Waiting. Spencer walks up, and Toby says, pretending not to love you was the hardest thing I've ever done. Spencer goes to hit him, but Toby grabs her arm, and they make out. I don't understand this plan at all, but I'm glad they're back together.
Yeah, what was he doing?
Yeah, what are you doing?
They both were protecting each other. Welcome to Toby and Spencer. It's going to be like this lather, rinse, repeat for the next 6 seasons.
Stupid as shit.
5 seasons?
It's just like, why did you need to do that, Toby? He thought Spencer was in danger. Spencer is in danger anyway. Look at her friends.
I always wondered if he thought it was because it was Jenna.
Oh, okay. That, I guess, is one way to read that.
I don't know that, though, and I don't remember if they ever explained this.
So it would explain why he's trying to get closer to Jenna. The friends all walk together, and Hannah's freaked out about A. They all walk up and see that there's police on the street near Emily's house. Emily runs up and finds her mom. She says the police found a body, and they think it's Maya. We see that Melissa is watching on the other side of the police tape. We then see Mona sitting in a white hospital gown as a nurse walks into her room and opens up the door and says she has a visitor. We see only that this visitor is in a red coat, and Mona says to them, I did everything you asked me to, as the screen cuts to red. The end.
The tomfoolery really begins in this next season. Like,
they're already playing with that reveal being like, oh, like that this is Allison. Or like that's what you're meant to think, that this is like somehow probably connected to Allison.
That it could be Allison.
Exactly, wearing the red coat. And
or where did Allison get the concept of the red coat from?
There you go.
That's what I remember thinking. I was like, I was fully convinced Allison was dead. So I was like, can't be her.
Right. So then like
we found her body.
Right. So who could be this other person that's wearing the red coat?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm. But yeah.
Okay. So you've already gone over how you feel about Mona being A.
Well, okay, so I can at least it's not Mona being A. It's the rationale for A's actions. Of like being that like you took my friend.
Mm-hmm.
And that it's
but
like,
is that how you read that? at the end of that? Because I don't read it that way. I read that as a lie. Show's called Pretty Little Liars. So I think Mona's a liar. And because she's reporting up into someone. If she is reporting up into someone.
Right. Because like the other part of that like could be is like, oh, is she having a mental break? Because of the things that Dr. Sullivan says at the end, that it's like she's got a personality disorder that like makes her like a megalomaniac pretty much.
Yeah, but nowhere in there did they say she was having like hallucinations.
No, I know.
But yes,
this is one way to read it. So like, I think just the information that we have now makes it not. It's just like, okay, you couldn't have given us a little bit more to it. But yeah, that there could be like other things out there. But I don't think that Mona being A is necessarily a bad thing. I do like that. You know, Mona is just like, yeah, I'm actually like really smart, and like you all didn't like just brush right over me. But that also kind of ties into the weird shit of like, watch out for the loner, which I don't entirely like.
See, but I think because she then had become the popular girl, that's what makes it like it makes it really weird.
Right. I guess it's yeah, because she is the popular girl, but we don't see that, and the friends always brush her off. And we don't see her with really other people other than Noel.
But she serial dated the lacrosse team.
Right, exactly. So I guess that's also where I'm brushing up against it.
Well,
like
think
thinking
about
like
how many
loner.
people came to her birthday party.
Right, that's true. Camp Mona.
Camp Mona.
Pretty great.
Would you still go to Camp Mona's party even though you know Mona's A now?
Yeah. And I think maybe some of my disappointment too is that like I liked Mona as like this like kind of like self-absorbed, so she's not paying attention to things, like foil to the characters. So like I'm a little sad that I'm losing that, but I
love that she's hyper aware. I love Mona as a character. I think she's got one of the better arcs in the show.
Okay, yeah, I'm interested. I don't.
It's more like a McDonald's M than an arc, really. That's just like there's a lot. The show doesn't go. It's not like one person gets one type of plot line. Right. I mean, look at Hannah. She's got a fucking S. Like.
Right. So I'm not totally upset that Mona is A. I just thought that the explanation and everything was lacking in this, and they could flesh that out, for sure. But I just think within the episode, it's just kind of like, there's not really much to chew on. I found, yeah, and I think it's very easy for me to be like pessimistic about it when it's the person that was bullied by Allison now coming to get revenge on them, and then you get her specific explanation is that they stole her friend. So it's like that's not like quite what I'm looking for. I'd like maybe something else.
Well, and it also has to be a lie because they start getting the A messages before they start being friends again.
So they get the A messages after the funeral.
But remember, Aria and Emily were getting them before that. Remember, Emily had the note in her locker.
Really? Before the funeral?
Yeah, don't they have like the notes before the funeral, and then they all get the text messages together?
Oh.
Because they start talking because of it.
I thought it was right that it does backfire, in that way. But I thought they all got brought back together after the funeral.
I thought they got their A messages first.
You could be right.
Well, while I look that up, you tell me, how do you think Hannah's going to take this blow?
Yeah, I'm assuming the beginning of next season is going to be everybody dealing with the fallout of all of this stuff. So I think Hannah's going to be in for a rough time. For these like for the beginning of the arc is like her just having to deal with feeling betrayed and her her like best friend being like betraying her, pretty much being duplicitous and bullying her and her friends remotely. So I think it's going to be really rough for Hannah, and I think it's going to be kind of like she's going to like visit Hannibal Lecter like locked up. sort of shit. I think they'll be part of that, but I think it's going to be a lot of Hannah being reckless in her feelings, kind of going forward in this next season, because it's a lot.
Yeah.
And then also she also sees that Lucas is up to some sort of shit. Yeah.
Or like involved with Jenna in some way.
Yep. So like all her people, her like close people outside of the friends, that's just like betraying her.
So Arya gets the first one. Maybe he fools around with students all of the time. A lot of teachers do. Just ask your dad. Then Spencer gets the note that says, "Poor Spence always wants Melissa's boyfriend, but remember, if you kiss, I tell." Then Hannah gets Hannah gets two, because she gets one in a deleted scene, like with the lip gloss one, and then one about like the prison food.
Got it. And so that's all before the funeral.
Emily says, "Hey, Em, I've been replaced. You found another friend to kiss." And then they get the "I'm still here, bitches, and I know everything."
Right. Got it.
So it doesn't make sense.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, Mona, girl, you lying.
Right. Exactly. Of like what her motives are.
Yes.
Yeah. So yes, that's fair. I think I just wanted like more info.
Mm-hmm.
Because yeah, I think that's just kind of like that's just lacking. It's just kind of like we're getting a reveal without context.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, okay, we got who A was, but like why?
Yeah, we got false context.
Yeah.
Who was Jenna?
In that sense.
Jenna talking to at the park?
I know. Oh yeah, at the park. Because it's got to be. That's also someone that we know that she hasn't seen. And I assumed after seeing the Black Swan, that was who she was referring to.
Who do you think that is?
Yeah. And I don't know, because like we don't have a good, other than Melissa, I don't know who the hell that would be.
But Melissa's pregnant.
Right. So, like, I don't know who that person is outside of that.
Mm-hmm.
So, I don't know if this is going to be, like, a brand new person or what. Because, like, I don't think it's just because the friends all don't know.
Mm-hmm.
So, then, it's, like, also looking at that person, I'm like, I have no idea who this person is either.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it doesn't, we just have no idea. So, if it is someone that we do know, that'd be curious. Then they did a good job disguising him, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe we do, but yeah, I couldn't make heads or tails. I'm like, this can't be someone we know. I guess it would probably have to be, or maybe we'll meet them next season. I don't really, quite know what the Jenna Lucas machinations are at the party.
Mm-hmm.
For all the friends things, because I'd assumed that when it was like they're all gonna be there, you know what to do, was about the friends, but I think it's probably completely disconnected from them.
Mm-hmm.
And Jenna was just being nosy by following Arya.
Yeah.
Which, like, I mean, you start knowing these people, you're gonna follow them. They're up to something.
Yes. Speaking of Jenna, how long until the girls learn she can see?
Oh yeah. That's gotta be, maybe that's like a mid-season reveal of like 3. I could see that being like a big mid-season reveal there.
I think this show does mid-season finales better than finales.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway.
Yeah. But yeah, I think that's gonna be great. That's gonna be a good time when everybody finds out that she can see.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to be very curious what dominoes fall for like them to figure out that Jenna can see.
Toby playing the part, I don't know what he was doing.
I don't either. I can't make heads or tails of that. Like, what in the hell are you doing? I think our best guess is like kind of what we floated earlier of just like he thought it was Jenna, so he wanted to get closer to him, but like but why did he have to push Spencer away to find Dr. Sullivan?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Spencer pushed him away, I guess.
How did he know Dr. Sullivan was missing?
Right. Well, I guess through Spencer. Or did she go missing after their like breakup?
Wasn't it or he had to break up with her to get Dr. Sullivan back? Or she had to break up with him?
To get Dr. Sullivan back?
Remember?
Oh, right, yeah.
I have so many questions about how Toby knows anything.
And then But like, it's also that Toby was playing a part, but again, he got broken up with. So then he was just acting angry when Spencer was coming back around. Why? Why exactly? Why? I guess the best we got is that he thought it was Jenna. And I mean, Jenna is in a sense dangerous.
What do you think comes next?
Yeah, I think it's all going to be the fallout of A. Okay. Finding out what A is. And as they're like following on to, and there's going to be, of course, there's still all this stuff with Jenna and crew that they're going to like being investigating, and there's still going to be more about like, so, okay. Mona, them figuring out what the hell to do about Mona, processing their feelings there, Hannah really going through it. And Hannah's plotline is going to be all about that. We have Emily dealing with Maya potentially being dead and going through all of that. Paige also is probably going to be around as like some really weird.
Do you want to hear some bad news?
What? Paige is around. Yeah. So
Paige
I assumed
is just around.
When we had Paige in this episode talking to Emily about being just friends, I know who's going to be around when Emily's going to be sad about Maya, and it's going to be weird stuff with that. 3, Arya and Fitz train is right back on. Spencer, Toby, getting back together, and then but like Spencer's still also dealing with Melissa
and
Ren, her family. And so there's still so much there to like continue to go on because Melissa is way too happy. So like, why is Melissa so happy about like Garrett being in jail? Is she potentially working with Jenna? Is there some sort of cahoots happening there? And then we also have to deal with the fallout of Garrett being in jail and what that means for everybody else. What things get revealed by Garrett when he starts doing some finger pointing. So I think that part I'm excited for sure. The Hannah stuff I'm curious because it could be, I don't know. It'll be interesting to see there. Actually, the one thing I'm not looking forward to is the Emily plot line because I think it's just going to be about Emily and Paige. Unfortunately. But yeah,
I'll have to figure out when the Christmas episode is too. There's a Christmas episode in one of the seasons. Gotcha. I don't think it's in all of them.
Maybe it's in this one. You could see that. Was it like a Christmas episode on like Christmas, like around then? Oh,
I assume.
I don't think it's season 3 then. But and then once they're kind of like settled or uncovering a bit more, a new way shows up. And so if you're kind of saying that like season 3 is like kind of like split, we don't get that until the end of the first half of season 3. That's my guess.
We also still have to figure out who killed Allie.
Yes.
Is Maya dead?
Black Hoodie.
And if so, who killed Maya?
Yes.
Those are your new theories that you have to ponder.
Why was Mona's phone or watch going off? What was the timer for?
It was because it was midnight.
Oh, right.
Right?
Yeah, that was midnight. But what purpose does that serve?
Because they had to tell her by midnight. They had to give the phone to A.
Oh, but I was wondering if there was like something else that would happen.
I don't know.
So I don't know.
I don't know.
So yeah, that's what comes next.
That's what comes next?
That's what I think, yeah.
All right. Was it chaotic season finale?
Yes, very much so. And one thing that gets like glossed over that was like, ugh, or that we kind of glossed over in the recap is that like Arya's like, oh yeah, that was a special that's a special place for me and Fitz. Blah.
We knew they had sex. Remember, we had the sex scene.
I know, but like, I guess I was like, well, I could just interpret this as like them making out with their shirts off.
Was that something you did often?
No, but it was just like, I don't want to think about the repercussions of this one. Which I was like, nah, I don't like the friends being like, really? And it's like, oh, I don't want to do this. But the Melissa making the most of her one scene of being like I'm so happy, and then stealing Arya's like ice cream from her.
Mm-hmm.
Good stuff.
10 out of 10.
Yeah. But yeah. Wanted more.
Well, we'll get you into season 3 and then you'll have more.
Perfect.
Or you won't and it'll just get worse.
Yeah. Who knows? We'll see what happens.
That's the fun.
Uh-huh.
Any final thoughts on the season finale?
No, I think I about covered kind of like what my thinking is there. Do we want to step into a little theory corner?
Sure. What are you going to theorize?
Well, we just got a lot of moving parts now. We just got to cover, kind of like where we're at, what we think might be happening. So, without further ado, let us step into the station.
Yeah.
As a disgraced PI, just much like any other disgraced officer of the law, I'm back on the force.
Because you couldn't figure out the case and because you thought it was
people
Maya?
It blew up in my face, and they're like, you were harassing this family that just was trying to get by. So we're entering a new era here of
Are you saying you've become a cop?
I'm saying Brenton's theory corner is taking a turn into, we're investigating a bigger case going on here.
Uh-huh.
Much like the detectives of, say, a Zodiac or something, where we're on the hunt.
Okay. Carry on. Buck it up.
With Garrett in jail.
Uh-huh.
And we
Is
have...
that whose spot you're filling?
Yes. We now have Jenna having even more tendrils in more places than we thought. We've got brand new people being pulled in, we assume. We also have Lucas being pulled in. And I think that's interesting, and we can connect that back to, like, say, the Halloween episode where we have Mona interacting with Jenna for the first time, Lucas always being around there. And I think that's a big inflection point for these, maybe Jenna bringing in these people that were bullied, and like more on the lower totem pole of the social status of the high school, and being part of her scheme for whatever these might be and for things in the past. But I'm potentially pulling them in based off of bullying from Allison in the past is kind of like my idea. So I'm interested in learning more on like what in the hell like her motives are now, because we're kind of in this new space where I guess it has to be about like Allison's murder now that we kind of know that A is this thing was, and part of me thinks that the A team that Mona that refers to is rolling up into potentially Jenna rather than what I was saying before, where it was like this antagonistic force. Mona's maybe like the kingpin, or queenpin.
Reporting into Jenna.
Exactly. Yeah, that's the hierarchy. So, and then Melissa is somehow involved with this because she's
so
a little.
Jenna could be Redcoat.
Yes.
Okay.
Definitely, and that Melissa is also, I think, in on it because Melissa is too happy for Garrett being in jail than it would seem in the previous episode where they're getting along just fine and like playing house. So, these women just getting one over on these men.
We love it.
I'll be, and who knows what's going on with Jason.
His house got burnt.
Right. And why the hell was his house the one that was specifically targeted?
Why indeed?
So, we'll be pulling up the case files, putting it in here and trying to figure stuff out. So just wanted to at least briefly enter the new phase. Brenton's Theory Corner.
I love it. Who do you think killed Maya? Did someone kill Maya?
I'm hesitant to say that Maya isn't dead. My track record has not been great. That's why we ended up here. But there's a part of me that wants to go, Maya's not dead.
Is Allison dead?
I don't think Allison's dead.
Because we haven't seen a body?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't think. And I don't know. So
But they have page 5 of the autopsy report now.
That's true. I don't know. Yeah, there's it's not quite like comprehensive or anything, but Google Phil search results and like later pictures has me thinking that Allison's still alive, but who knows? That could just be like flashbacks.
They do make this poor woman do flashbacks for the entire series.
Yeah. So it could be completely off there. That if she's still alive, but I do think she's probably still, and maybe just being Vivian Darkbloom somewhere. But
well, then whose body did they autopsy?
Right. There could still be that like twin twist that we were talking about before, like the two different sisters.
That's big in the book series,
right? And then with Maya,
I think Mona's the only plot line that follows the book series.
But with Maya, I don't know who would have killed her. It's a dark one. Because, like, would Jenna's crew move to kill? And why?
Indeed.
But I mean, Maya, again, I may regret these words, could have been in too deep with something. And it seems like she might have been. So she could have ended up dead. And, you know, it'd be very sad if she got killed off screen. Very unceremonious and rough time to just bring her back in for season 2 to just kind of be a downer. But I don't know. More.
Women who kiss Emily die?
Watch out.
Samara,
Paige, you're next. Actually, it'd be Samara, really.
You think Paige is just going to hang around?
Could be hanging around doing something. If it's these people.
Do you think it's Paige?
I don't know. I mean, Paige is suspect, but I don't know if she's that suspect. I think Paige is just awkward.
Yeah, I think so too. I don't think Paige would commit crimes.
Yeah, I don't think
in general.
so either.
It's not really her vibe.
No, I don't think so either. She's just kind of odd.
Well, you're not sure. That's what we got.
That's exactly. I don't know. We got everything's up in the air now. But look forward to more Theory Corner.
There you go.
All right. Thank you for joining us. Goodbye.
What a lovely corner you have in this office.
Thank you. It's a little cramped. And it's an open office setting, so like I have no privacy.
What do you need privacy for?
Case files. And I just want privacy. I don't want people coming up and talking to me all the time.
Maybe you shouldn't have gotten a job in the office then.
Yeah, I'm stuck as, You know, it's tough.
Know.
Thank you for joining us. Goodbye.
Are police like the original open office setting?
Yeah.
They like always have had open office
They've
settings
always
in
had
TV
that.
shows.
Yeah.
I don't know if they have them in real life.
I've never been to a police station in real life. Not like this.
Nope. Well, on that note, let us know if you know. Have you been to a police station? Don't tell us why.
Is that what they modeled it off of? Bad model.
Any final thoughts?
Nope. I am ready for. Just because I didn't like this episode, I'm still ready for more.
I can't believe you didn't like this episode.
Sorry.
It's a masquerade ball.
like I said, I'm actually was with the episode until like they're careening around in the car. And then I'm like, oh, we're not gonna get anything of substance here.
No, welcome to Pretty Little Liars, baby. You're never gonna get as much as you want out of each episode. They have 25 to tell a 12-minute story.
No, fair enough.
All right. Well, when we're not here doing this, and as I do other things, you can find all the things I do in my link tree that Brenton will link in all of our content.
Mm-hmm. You can find this podcast on all your audio podcast platforms of choice. You can also find us on YouTube. Both of those are at Dead Ends. You can also follow us on Twitter if you'd like. Just see episode updates. That's at deadendspcast on Twitter. You can also send us an email at deadendspcast@gmail.com with any questions, or if you're just like, hey, I can't believe you didn't like this.
I'll be sending an email in.
And you can now feel free to talk about this first day reveal. But again, we have more coming up, so don't spoil it for me. If you like this podcast, we are just a humble, independent podcast. So please, 5 stars, subscriptions, likes, all those things help us get the word out and all that good stuff. So we appreciate it. Rate and review us.
We just do this in our free time, and we're so tired.
We are so tired.
We're so weary after solving this case.
I know. And yet, it still spreads out before us.
Mm-hmm.
And, you find out one thing, and there's 3 more that pop up.
Yep. And one more thing.
Yep.
Just like Columbo.
Just like Columbo.
They could tell a story in less than an hour. Or in an hour. In over an hour.
It was like hour 15, hour 30.
Aren't the later ones shorter?
Maybe, but we haven't gotten there.
All right. Well,
not that I've personally seen.
You're still here.
We're still here. And we're going to find out everything. I hope.
No promises.